Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Vanna. And today we're carrying on with our new product that we're launching as Data Sciences, partnering with an organization called Gigaspaces. And the product itself is actually named Smart DIH. Now, we've already established, but maybe you've forgotten, DIH in their world stands for Digital Integration Hub. But it also can kind of relate to a data integration hub as well. And as data sciences, being inspired by data, trying to help organizations to realize value with the data that they have, we came across Gigaspaces and started working with them because really what they're doing is making access to data just so much easier, so much simpler, and allowing people, organizations to transform from legacy kind of infrastructure, or should I say systems and databases and data sources, being trapped in those silos, and liberating that data in ways that modern applications can actually truly take advantage of that data, right? So we're quickly going to draw what the current kind of way of things are, right? When we have an application that needs to talk to multiple data sources, let's just say we've got 3 different data stores, right? One of them is a traditional SQL, RDBMS, right? Maybe one of them is like a Mongo. And let's say, for instance, you've still got, in the banking instance, you've still got a mainframe, right? Now you've got this kind of like API layer that you want to use to expose those records or systems of records to a modern application. Right, and that modern application talks to these APIs. What currently is probably happening is you've got something that looks similar to this, right? You've got a bit of a spaghetti scenario happening here. And it's pretty tricky to maintain this. It's pretty tricky to ensure that you have no latency between these applications or these systems that's actually impacting in that area. And it's quite complex in its own way, right? So what do we do is we're effectively saying, well, how about we take away all of this spaghetti kind of element, excuse my finger marks here, right? And how about we insert this digital integration hub, and we effectively bring our data sources into that, and we have our APIs talking straight into that data hub, and effectively creating a unified data model at this layer over here. Now, bear in mind, this is for specifically systems of record. We're not speaking about creating a data mart or analytics hosting environment. This is about liberating systems of record data into this environment. Now, that architecture expands into 3 bigger layers if we want to talk about it from this perspective. So we've got our multiple data sources, right, which we've already touched, and this can be pretty much anything, right? We can expand on this, but we've said, mainframe, we can actually be sending IoT telemetry data, or as we mentioned, systems of record out of a traditional SQL database, or NoSQL as well, right? So all of this effectively can then be worked into this layer that we have here, this integration layer. And we use methodology such as change data capturing. We have a pluggable framework that allows us to extensively connect to different data sources. And we also have at this integration layer, let's just say this is the integration layer, we also have the ability I don't know if you're going to pick that up, but there's a storm outside at the time of recording, so you might hear 1 or 2 Joburg thunder cracks while we're going at it. Right, so we also have the ability to actually augment the metadata during ingress of this. So we can connect to these individual sources of data, and through that connection layer, we then build it into the actual storage space, or the area where we place these data elements. And we create the basic area, which is called a space, where we actually update those records into, right? Now, with this, we can have a tiered storage architecture, so we can use in-memory. It's got an in-memory grid, right? So your hottest data lives in memory. And remember, we spoke about latency being a potential issue connecting to the similar systems. Well, that in-memory grid effectively removes potential latency at the lower level and ensures that we are able to serve the data at this layer in a consistent and predictable fashion. And then we also have the ability to to build this out in this low latency environment that we have here. So this is kind of like our storage or staging area. And then we effectively want to also try and present this, or our presentation layer, right? So there's the top side of this, which is effectively a multi-protocol area. So we can connect out through REST API, right? We can talk via making a database connection, like you'd make to a Postgres database as well. We can actually put in our unified model over here in the way that we talk to the data itself. And then we're able to expose this data through various APIs. So we could create a select query that then queries that unified data area, right, through this, and exposes that as a RESTful API to our applications out here. Now that application can be a chatbot, okay, that can be a customer loyalty app. It can be a banking app. It can be a manufacturing decision-making system, right? MNF for manufacturing. It is all dependent on what your business is about, right? The idea is that we're taking these dissimilar databases in terms of how the data is structured, and we pulling them in as they change in real time into this hub, which effectively is this entire section over here. This is the DIH. That's a smart DIH, is all of those components. And in a very short while, very, very quickly, we can expose all of this data to the correct context for that application or web service or whatever kind of way that you want to work with that data. And like I say, it can be anything. We can be powering digital twins. You can be powering some form of telemetry data, some form of record keeping that you need to have. Push this data into a machine learning model and take that into that area. All of the data hub or the smart DIH also has all of the orchestration, all of the security, your control, and all of your monitoring. So monitoring, control, security, and orchestration is all built into the actual system itself as well. So, turnkey solution that we deploy and that we can host on-prem, and also take this whole area, that whole data set, and absolutely take that into, for instance, an AWS, Azure, or even Oxide, our own cloud. Oxide, spell that one correctly at least. Right, so we can mirror this entire environment into those areas. And what that does is, if you're instantiating your application in the cloud, we can actually bring that data closer to the application that it's looking to service as well. If you have a multi-region organization, it's a great way too of mirroring your data across all of that. So this is a very, very quick, very, very high level overview of the architecture of Smart DIH, which is the new platform that data sciences are bringing in partnership with Gigaspaces to the South African market. And we're really having some interesting conversations with our customers as to how this could potentially benefit them in making data of systems of record data available to their modernizing applications out there as well, and just think differently about how they're working with their data. So thank you very much for joining me once again for another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Werner, and we'd love to see you on the next one. Please don't forget to like, share, and follow our LinkedIn page.